Hey everybody, welcome back to another review. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Just tons of reviews sweeping the channel, so hope you guys are enjoying all of that. We're basically in a catching up period. There's a lot of films in particular that I didn't see earlier this year, and just wanted to dedicate some time to catch up on a couple of films that I didn't see. One of those being Infinity Pool, which was written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg, who is, as that last name suggests, the son of David Cronenberg. Um, this is his second feature, his first being Possessor, which I really admire, really enjoy. Um, Stars Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth, and the story focuses on James Foster, who's played by Alexander Skarsgård, who is a bit of a struggling artist, and him and his wife go on a vacation, and they meet Mia Goth's character, who tries to get them to do some stuff that's outside of the country's laws and stuff like that. Um, and James finds himself involved with Mia Goth's character in a romantic capacity. Basically, cheats on his wife, and they get into a tragic accident involving the death of an individual. And with that, um, the government gives him an option, which was that we can kill you right now, or we can create a double that will sub for your death sentence, and you can go off and live your life. And he chooses the double, and then he wrestles with what he has seen, and Mia Goth's character then comes back into the equation, and he becomes subdued and enticed, and ultimately uh, uh, becoming more entangled and more involved with his sociopathic like qualities, because in a lot of ways that's what the film is exploring, is a sociopath. Because Alexander Skarsgård's character, from the moment that you see him, is a lot is in fact a sociopath. He has very rare moments where he shows his emotions. He's very closed off, and um, you could view that as a form of traumatic response and stuff like that to events that unfold in the film. But for the most part, how I interpreted it as is seeing the building of a sociopath. Um, and There's also a great emphasis on the idea of obedience, because there's a very animalistic quality to the film. There's the idea of a dog. There's an idea um, of just, there's like a horny nature to it, and just the nature of how they portray certain sequences, because there are sexual sequences in the film. It reminds you of animals, not that of humans, and there's an artistic expression within that is, again, exaggerating this point of animal-like qualities. Um, and through all this, there's also the effort to avoid accountability, because the entire time when you see Alexander Skarsgård's character going through these motions, you go back to that point in the film where he has that choice, and you think to that about ultimately why he makes that choice. And in some respects, the movie is about that, why he makes that choice. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that he is a sociopath, and that he is not wanting to really take accountability, and to do what is necessary, to do the right thing, even if death is that is that path, or is the way of making peace. Ultimately, he doesn't want to do that. He wishes to avoid said thing. So it has interesting ideas on its mind, and the visual language of the film, I think, is very enticing. And obviously, the ideas of being a sociopath are, they're very unnerving, and very, you know, uh, very tense in design. Because just some of the actions of the characters, and just the overall depictions, they can be a bit, a bit I wouldn't say arresting, but definitely a bit startling in terms of overall tone. Um, And some of the metaphors I think are interesting. I do think, though, that um, what I think the movie ultimately struggles with is creating more narrative purpose than visual purpose, because the movie promotes stylistic and tonal sensibilities a lot, but what it lacks a lot of is story, because you get something in presentation and in metaphors. I mean, literally, like the whole poster thing is that they're wearing mask on mask. Sociopaths. I mean, it's pretty obvious, you know. And performances that are oddly exaggerating. Like everything just has an exaggerated quality to it, which I get because it's a Cronenberg type of thing. I mean, I coming off of Possessor and just knowing Cronenberg style, both son and father, I expect an exaggerated quality to take place. But for the given circumstance, it just feels a bit unwarranted, and it just makes the elements more obvious in presentation, and there's less of a subtle nature to things. There's less of an ambiguity and less room for interpretation, which seems to be the case for how Infinity Pool wishes to explore its themes. It has a very similar attitude to that of Possessor. The difference with Possessor is that there is that room for interpretation. There is that room for discussion to take place. With Infinity Pool, it is literally only in one type of area. You know, it's just wanting to talk about a certain type of personality and exploring that personality. And those ideas are interesting, and the visual language of it is interesting, but what it promotes more or less is a uninvolving and aimless aura than more of what it believes to be, which is to be very involving and very interpretive. It doesn't have that kind of sensibility. It's more interested in its visual ideas and more interested in promoting a certain feeling than creating a certain narrative. So I think that it has interesting ideas. I think that the visuals, just coming into Cronenberg type of style, I think that the visuals are interesting to look at. But what it just lacked for me was involvement for the most part. I just found the performances, I just found the overall metaphors, the presentation of it. I just found it to be just exaggerative. But I expected that exaggeration, but it's just not needed given the circumstance. So, it's a bit of a disappointment for me because I really liked Possessor. I really enjoyed Possessor a lot because it just knew how to handle this kind because it has a very similar demeanor and a very similar approach to what Possessor was, But Possessor, I think, just had much more of a grounded and a much more of a grip to both its story and to its visuals, to where it could complement each other. With this, it just feels like both of these ideas are just being separated, and it's little to put these things together. So. So it's more of a film of interesting ideas than that of an interesting story. So that's my thoughts on Infinity Pool. I didn't hate it, but I definitely found it to be a step down from Possessor. But you guys will know your thoughts on Infinity Pool if you guys chose to see it. I remember this film also getting an NC-17 rating, and then it was cut down. Originally, when I heard that, I was kind of disappointed because seeing how Cronenberg operates, I was curious to see more of what he would do within that kind of, with having that more room. But seeing what Infinity Pool was, it probably would have been more visual than substance. And, I'm glad to just have what I have here than what I probably would have gotten under an NC-17 rating. So. But let me know your thoughts about Infinity Pool in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for more reviews in the future. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video.